guys, welcome to episode 7 of the Dash Gamer podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Dash, along with my co-host, Mr. Ryan Betson.
How are you, Dash?
Good, mate. How are you?
I'm well.
Yes. Interesting.
What?
You look slim.
I look slimmer, yes.
Yes.
Not slim,
Slimmer. Yeah.
That's the key word.
What's going on there?
Yes, I haven't been on here in a little while.
No.
So as I've talked about like every second that I can, because it's important.
Yeah.
I have been on a weight loss journey for
Yes.
this year. I've discussed before. It started all in January, a bunch of habit changes, and over the last month and a bit, I have jumped on the man shake.
Yeah.
So it's a shaker sort of created by some NRL dude, McDougal. I don't know. Apparently he was fucking good. I don't care. I'll give a minor shout out. There's a dude on YouTube called That Fat Guy. He was the one that when I was looking into the man shake, he's the channel I came across, and his results were impressive, and just the way he talked about it, I was like, all right, cool, I got this guy's back. I'll give it a whirl. But yeah, so as it stands right now, so from January 1 to right now, I am currently 9.3 kilos lighter.
Congratulations, dude. You definitely can see it.
Yeah, it's a lot in the face and neck, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
And a good deep V shirt like this really helps.
Really helps, yeah. Really defines it, yeah.
Because it makes the neck look thin and my boobs look impressive, and that's kind of where I was going for tonight.
Guys, if you didn't know, this is the Dash Gamer podcast, our bi-weekly gaming podcast where we sit down and talk about the latest in the worlds of video gaming. If you like what you hear tonight, don't forget to follow us over on SoundCloud. Oh, no. We're not on SoundCloud anymore. Actually, you know what? We might be bouncing back because we got notice from our host this week that they're changing their plans and they're actually going up in price. So you can follow us on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify and give us those cheeky 5-star ratings. That surely help us out. And also over on, you can catch the VOD over on dashgamer.com.
It's kind of like Coke. So you had Coke, you had podcasts over on SoundCloud. That was Pod. Then you're like, here's new Pod over on this service. You're like, you know what? Fuck it. Pod Classic. Yeah. Everyone go back.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what's happening just yet. I'll probably figure that out this week sometime. But we'll see what happens. Speaking of dashgamer.com, Betson, I did go on live on Twitter yesterday and talk about what's happening with the website. In terms of content, there hasn't really been much, so first of all, apologize for that. But there is a new episode of Take My Tone and TGIF on there right now, including our Resident Evil 3 review. If you want to go, head over there and check those out. But this is what is going to be the new layout for dashgamer.com. Basically, like this is in beta mode. Basically, we're trying to update the look and make it look a little bit more snazzy now. I think it's turning out really well so far, but it's not active just yet. It'll probably be tomorrow morning, if anything. It's almost done. So once that's
quite
done,
stylish.
Thanks,
quite
dude.
stylish.
Thanks, dude. Once it's all done, it's going to go up. A new look for the website for 2020. But that's basically all my housekeeping because I've been working nonstop for a whole week on this. So yeah, there you go. Betson, any housekeeping from you?
As always, my PlayStation show for the players is up.
Yep.
We talked about The Last of Us, which we'll discuss here again tonight. Our wrestling show, The Young and the Wrestlers. We did our WrestleMania recap yesterday, so that's up for any of you that are wrestling fans. I don't know how many minutes that was. I did say on Twitter how long it would take me to talk about WrestleMania, but we did it pretty quick. Only a couple minutes. But yeah, so the WrestleMania recap's up. I did, with Gemini in our show, The Young and the Wrestlers. That's fantastic. In terms of reviews, Dash, similar to yourself, Resident Evil 3's up there. Our Doom review's up there. I'm trying to think what else we did. That's about it, Reeve.
It's quiet at the moment. It's definitely quiet at the moment.
Yeah, so. It was quiet, but we're very lucky to have those two games sort of released separate to one of our regular shows. Yeah. So able to have this cool little videos. Oh, and there's also a lovely video of my son and I building this chair in under 3.5 minutes on YouTube. I
can't wait for you to actually sit down and talk about Persona 5 Royal, because I know you guys will.
I do have it. It's over here. So I'm gonna split my time over the Easter break between the two. I think.
No, fair call. That's all right, man. But yeah, like honestly, it's quiet. Like I still have to write. I've still got one obligated review to write, and 2 others that I want to get out there, which are Animal Crossing, Final Fantasy VII, and Bleeding Edge. Bleeding Edge is thanks to Xbox Australia, who provided me a review code on that one. All 3 of those
spoilers.
reviews...
We're chatting about that tonight. So.
Exactly. All 3 of those reviews will be live this week, if anything, within the next 24 to 48 hours. So... Work is all I've been doing.
Well, we should look, as I said, for those that are super wanting the Dash Gamer thoughts, you'll hear all 3 of them in this episode.
Correct.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
They will be here. Betson, we're going to jump right into the news tonight.
Let's do it.
Yes. And this starts off with a piece of Nintendo news this week, which is a kind of a big one, to be honest, because I'm a fan of what they're doing here, and I hope to see more. Besides Nintendo, besides this franchise, this specific franchise, I'd like to see more from Nintendo make its way. But it is the 35th anniversary of the Super Mario franchise, so Nintendo are gifting us quite a bundle here. So this story comes by way of IGN. Nintendo reportedly planning Mario remasters for Switch to celebrate Super Mario Bros. 35th anniversary. This comes from Adam Bankhurst over at IGN. Oh, there was an update to this article as well. Well, the original story says, in honor of Super Mario Bros. 35th anniversary, Nintendo is said to be getting ready a big celebration that will include, quote, plans to re-release most of Super Mario 35-year back catalog this year. As reported by VGC, multiple sources have confirmed this news that also states a new installment in the Paper Mario series will be arriving on Nintendo Switch in 2020. In the update to the article, he said, further details have emerged in the ongoing reports that Nintendo will re-release many Mario games for the series' 35th anniversary. VGC has added to its report that Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy will be treated as a special anniversary collection rather than straight ports to Switch. Wow, that's good. Its own sources also support earlier reports about the port of Super Mario 3D World, which is alleged to be a deluxe edition, with new levels and content. See below. In addition, VentureBeat's own sources claim that Paper Mario is in development and intends on returning to the series roots as in the Nintendo 64 and GameCube era. That would suggest a refocused effort on the RPG design, which would make sense considering the criticism faced by the 3DS and Wii U entries, which involve more platforming features. Buddy, I know you're in the chat. This one is definitely for you for Super Mario 3D World. Betson.
Yes.
Please tell me because I know that your wife was almost like, oh, you're buying this. So
yeah.
Tell me your thoughts quickly on this.
That's pretty much how it went down. Because I was here, it was post recording for the players with Max, and he's like, "Hey man, did you hear about this Mario shit?" And I'm like, "Oh no, what Mario thing are you talking about?" And then he goes, he pretty much said exactly what you said. And my wife was in the next room, and she ducks her head and she's like, "We're gonna buy that, right?" So she's quite excited.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a history with the 64 and stuff like that, so I never really play. I have played Mario 64, but I never got the appeal. Because it's one of those things. If you look back at it now, you're like, "Oh, you're rough." But Galaxy, I enjoyed playing Galaxy. Yeah. So I've been keen to that again. The one thing I'm wondering is how they're going to bring a lot of the motion controls and stuff in. So I know that was very much more heavy. Now, granted, with the Joy-Cons, you could do that.
Yep.
But when you've got sort of Switch lights out in the wild,
mm-hmm.
they're going to need to put that on analog sticks, perhaps.
Well, you bring up an interesting point, and that is the fact that the Switch has motion controls, the Joy-Cons are motion controls, much like the original Wii remote. And the Wii remote and the nunchuck controller could easily, the Joy-Cons could emulate those quite easily. And the fact that some motion games, though, would require the sensor bar with the infrared light, like Super Mario Galaxy, the motion control or the sensor bar would be used, or the infrared light would be used inside the Wii remote to capture stars on screen as you moved around on the screen. There will be those kind of things there from Galaxy that'll be interesting in how they implement it on the Switch. I could probably see something like a touchscreen feature being replacing the motion control in that term. For Super Mario 3D,
so the other difference is that it didn't have dual analog sticks.
Correct. Yeah.
So maybe one of the analog sticks could replace that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in saying that too, I mean, like the Joy-Cons both have like, it's not a digital pad, but they have those 4 separate buttons on each, which could essentially emulate the directional pad on the Wii remote. The only thing it would be missing is the 1 and 2 buttons, but I'm sure that can be switched around. I'm definitely interested to see how they deliver it. Whether or not it is going to be a direct port from the Wii to, like this, in terms of the Galaxy games, from the Wii to the Switch, that'd suck. I'd love for them to like remaster it and make it look like if anything, Super Mario Galaxy is a fabulous looking game for the Wii. Like, I've played it in on emulator in 720p on my PC, and in 720p, not even in 1080, it looks stunning. If Nintendo were to bring it over to the Switch, obviously the Switch renders everything in 720p on the handheld mode, 1080 on screen. To bring it to Switch and then have it rendered in 1080p on screen and have it run smooth as butter, like 60 frames, which I believe the Switch is capable of doing. Man, I tell you, like, they're going to be delivering some gold out of it, and I hope that the collection that we are getting is going to go above and beyond what we're like basically seeing here or getting rumored with. So that's pretty much it.
I do agree with you, because that is the one thing that well, I guess any first party's sort of in that level, but Nintendo really know how to optimize their games for their own quote underpowered platform, right?
Yes.
So a game that looks better than many big PS4 and Xbox games, right? Like Luigi's Mansion 3 as an example, stunning game. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's similar, as you mentioned, like, I'm quite excited to see what they could do, how they can upscale these, and if anything, it will show a lot of the potential around Wii games, because the concern right now for I imagine many Nintendo fans is because those motion controls, there are many games that will be stuck and trapped on that console.
Yeah.
So if they can demonstrate how there's a way to bring it over and to be effective, to be efficient, and to not have a hindered because of that, then I think that'll certainly be a bonus.
Yeah, Simon in the chat says, this is such great news. How certain are you it will be this many of the 3D titles? Well, it's only heavily rumored right now, but like sources within the industry are saying, no, it's happening. If they say it's happening, then like these are some reputable sources as well. It's not just some schlubs on some blog like saying it. It's reputable. So if anything, it'll happen. I don't know how many titles we'll get, but he also says super keen for HD Sunshine. It didn't embrace the power of the Nintendo GameCube at the time, but the concept was cool. I loved Super Mario Sunshine, dude. I don't know if you never owned a GameCube.
No. So I never played a GameCube, but my only memory of Sunshine is playing it on one of those display units at Harvey Norman.
Yeah, nah, dude.
Traralgon. I remember that's my big memory of it.
I remember playing Sunshine for the first time at a demo in EB Games, and I was in love by it almost immediately. I remember I was lucky. I got my GameCube before Sunshine came out. I got my GameCube because back then embargoes and release dates, they didn't give a fuck. They just sold the units when they had them. And EB Games had sold the GameCube to me like 3 or 4 days early, and when Sunshine came out, it was one of those things again where who gives a fuck about embargoes? I got the game like a week early, and I played that non-stop. Got all the Sunshine sprites. I got everything. Like within 24 hours, I had everything, and I was like, "Oh, that's great. I'm gonna play it again." And my memories of Sunshine, very fond memories, man. Such an awesome experience, and to have it come to Switch now, yes, fuck yes. Look. Super Mario will always be in my heart, Super Mario will always be the best of the best. There's nothing better than it. I know that I host a PlayStation showdown and all that, but Super Mario is the be-all end-all in terms of franchises. If it wasn't for that franchise, a lot of things wouldn't exist. And the fact that they're celebrating the 35th anniversary this year and bringing us a ton of classics like Galaxy Sunshine, 3D World, which is awesome, and potential of the Paper Mario series as well. I'm down for it, dude. I can't wait. Ooh, yeah. As you said, quoted by you, it makes me moist.
It makes you moist in the front area.
Yeah.
Is the exact quote.
Yeah.
But if anything, yeah, similarly, like it makes me excited to want to be able to play them for the first time.
Yeah, definitely. Betson, we'll move on to the next piece of news for the night. And this one is interesting because it comes from IGN, Joseph Noob, who says ESA reportedly announces dates for reimagined E3 in 2021. So yeah, here we go. The Entertainment Software Association has formally announced dates for the, quote, reimagined E3 in 2021 following the cancellation of E3 2020. IGN's own announcement of its summer gaming event, and IGN's own announcement of its summer gaming event. Okay, cool. E3 2021 will be held from June 15th to June 17th, 2021. According to GamesIndustry.biz, the ESA sent out the news to industry partners late Friday, and you know what they did? They didn't give a fuck because you leaked all their info last year. E3 2020 was officially cancelled on March 11th due to concerns over COVID-19 and the ensuing shelter-in-place orders that various state governments have issued, including Los Angeles, California, where E3 is held each year. The ESA has previously stated that it considered the possibility of an online event, although it has not provided any further details as of early April. If by some chance you missed the news, IGN has their own summer thing. Okay, whatever, that's fine. Betson, look, I don't know what E3 could do to revive or like end up in like some sort of renaissance and revitalize its own industry leading event. But E3 has like been dying, and I think the ESA can't accept it. Like they cannot accept the fact. Well, look, this year it's like they were forced. It was forced whether they liked it or not. They are in a predicament now where it's money, and if they don't consider announcing it now, there won't be an E3 next year. And that being said, this year could have been the nail in the coffin for E3. I really do think it still is, and they're really grasping. Like they're trying so hard. They're grasping at straws now and trying desperately to hold on to E3. What do you think?
It comes down to a couple of things.
Go on.
So if their plans are for next year, cool, good on them. That's great. Mm-hmm. But are we going to have some perspective here? Are they going to then look at the reception to this and how, because even coming into this E3 before anything went down, everyone was sour on it. Yep. Like it's, Q Entertainment and all this other garbage, and they're like, nah, mate. So if anything, with E3 being such a massive revenue stream for the ESA, I know that Buddy's mentioned this in one of the chats previously, would be that they need to strip it back. And to go back down to basics, go down to a simpler form of what E3 used to be. Yep. And that's the only way I can see them being successful next year.
I agree.
Because it's one of those things they have to play cautious here. This is not about going bigger to, investing more money to to refuel everything. Not going to happen, mate.
I agree.
Like the option is go small, rebuild it back up. Put it back onto its core and what people know it for, and then you win people back over.
What does a digital event look like for E3 though? Like what they say, we're considering a digital event. State of Play, Xbox's own event, Nintendo Direct. I'm sorry, but the big three have their own thing going. They're not going to be like, oh, hey guys, like the ESA can't just walk and go, oh, E3 still exists in this digital format. E3, Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft, big finger. It's
the only way I can see them doing is would be like if all these conferences, all these directs were required to stream on the E3 channel. Twitch channel, which would never fucking happen.
No,
like the level of arrogance that they would have to be like, if you want to do it, you have to do it with us on our channel. Like, no, fucking idiot. Like, there's no reason for people for anyone to. If anything, they could show off a bunch of gameplay, which all the publishers can do themselves. Like, well, maybe we can have interviews with developers. Well, IGN already do that. Yeah. Like in terms of what ESA could offer specifically about a digital E3, it's nothing that no one else is already doing.
Unless it's a broadcasting rights kind of thing, to acquire broadcasting rights to stream a direct state of play and whatever the fuck Xbox does. I can't even remember. It's not ideal for E3 to be doing a digital event, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Each development company and publisher can hold their own, and I quote this, Nintendo Direct these days. They don't need E3 don't have a platform right now. That's what's happening. The ESA do not have a platform, but they're trying so hard to make themselves seem important within the industry right now. And saying, we still have a platform and we still have the best display to show you guys. It's all optically, it's about branding and making sure that E3 is attached to a lot of these announcements that will be made for future. It's branding. And at the end of the day, E3's brand has been nothing but shit for the last almost decade. And with last year's turmoil, it just put itself, the ESA has just put themselves into... The respect is gone. Respect is gone.
The only way that they can do this, right, and as you mentioned in terms of streaming rights, quote unquote, it would be they would then have to offer a substantial amount of money to PlayStation, to Xbox, Sony and Microsoft or Nintendo to be like, hey, here's a bunch of money, can we stream it on our platform?
Yeah.
That is the polar opposite to how they've been working.
Yeah.
Their model is you pay us to show stuff here.
Yeah.
And there has been that transitional point. And I do believe that in the current circumstances with the whole Voldemort virus, that this is something that across the entire landscape of business, right?
Yeah.
Is that digital is fine.
Yep.
And that's what's going to happen. So if anything, this whole, I'm going to keep calling something different every time. This whole T virus will demonstrate how little E3 is needed even harder.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we were able to deliver exactly what we wanted this year under the current circumstances without you being here.
Yep.
So why would we then fork out a ton of money to you to do exactly what we just did for nothing?
Yeah. It's just give it up, ESA. It's not happening this year. Just sit back, relax, take the year off. Let people want you more next year. Because the fact is that we don't have an E3 this year. There will be gamers out there who will be like, fuck, I missed E3 last year. It would have been so good to sit back for a whole week, do nothing, eat chips, drink Coke, and watch fucking brand new trailers, play The Last of Us in a month. 2020 sucked.
See, it is one, the difficulty around that is I guess that's for some people, right? If we were to look on a purely numbers basis, right? There are 110 plus million PS4 consoles out there, right?
Right.
So most people that would want to watch E3 shit could, by numbers on paper, be PlayStation fans.
Yep.
PlayStation have not been there for 2 years.
Nope.
So in terms of, for myself, that's the big part of my brand and the content that I deliver. E3 means even less to me now.
Yep.
There is no incentive for me to cover anything else.
Yeah.
And if many people are, the big majority of gamers right now play on PlayStation and they're like, oh, PlayStation aren't there? Because even if you bring it down to its simplest form, right? Not everyone knows about exclusives. Not everyone knows about this. All they know is they have a PlayStation, and if PlayStation aren't there, that means there's no games worth talking about for them.
Yeah,
even though there's third parties and whatnot. But I'm talking about a basic perception thing.
Yeah, and it puts myself in the same kind of predicament too now with launching a PlayStation podcast on our end and having no platform. Well, with Sony having their own platform, it kind of puts it into the perspective of, well, we're just for our respective PlayStation podcasts, we kind of sit here and go, well, we just got to wait for a state of play. And that's pretty much it. And for both of us, for this podcast as well, it's well, we got to wait for a direct or an Xbox conference or a state of play or whatever's hot that week. So it's right now. And that's what I said. Before we started the show tonight, and one of the things that has happened because of COVID-19 has been lack of anything, lack of news. I said we were going to struggle coming in tonight based on news, and like I had to scrounge and find some. Luckily, I found some news to talk about, which is good. But it's one of those things right now where the ESA just cannot accept the fact that the world has stopped. The world stopped. Stop with it, because it ain't gonna go forward. And unfortunately, everybody this year would have been tuning in for one thing this year, and that was The Last of Us Part 2. They wanted
it's next gen console.
Next gen console, sorry. Yeah. The Last of Us Part 2 got delayed. It was before that, you idiot. If anything, unless they delayed it again, which I kind of predicted it would have happened anyway. But the thing is, because honestly, this is what I was thinking. They're going to delay it and then release it the next day after the E3 conference or whatever they were going to hold at E3, and go, guess what? We haven't announced a release date for it. It's out tonight. Yeah, fuck yeah. But anyway, so or tomorrow or whatever. But look, I think if anything, right now what we're seeing is the ESA just trying to hold on, and they should just let it go.
It is one of those things, because in their dying breaths, they're fighting for relevancy and fighting for airtime, and that's the difficulty. Yeah. Because as of right now, and because we're very lucky here in Australia that everything isn't as gnarly as it is in the US.
No.
So it is one of those situations where, I guess, once again, this could be coming from a very ignorant. From my end, because I'm still working, so my day-to-day is as normal as it ever has been. Nothing has drastically changed under the current circumstances.
Right.
However, in the US, when people are losing their jobs at like a higher rate than anywhere else, it's a situation of no one's going to give a fuck about frivolous purchases.
Yeah.
And video games are a luxury item. And it's one of those things, like when you hear about people that have difficulty buying a $60 game in the US, and then they're not going to care about a big announcement because they're not going to be able to afford it.
Well, their minimum wage over there is like 3 times smaller. Yeah, $5 an hour.
But the cost of living is staggeringly less too. But
that's true too. Yeah. Talking about stuff that's happening that's related to the T-virus and also gaming being delayed and all this other stuff. Xbox are trying to deliver a glimmer of hope for their Series X, and this comes by way of Jonathan Dornbush over at IGN, who says Microsoft not currently working on a plan B for Xbox Series X launch. He says both Microsoft and Sony have reiterated that the companies plan to release their next-gen consoles, the Xbox Series X and PS5 respectively, during holiday 2020 season. And even as the world, including development teams and manufacturing facilities, deal day by day with the effects of the novel T-virus, Microsoft is focusing on launch as already planned, so much that an alternative plan B launch hasn't been yet something that the company is working on. Speaking with IGN's Ryan McCaffrey on the latest episode of our weekly Xbox show podcast, Unlocked, which you can watch below on the article, head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, said in a response to the question, we haven't really started on any kind of plan B, as you asked about. We have nothing right now that says we're not going to make the dates that we've been planning, Spencer said, noting, however, the uncertainty of the world we're living in right now. Quote, but this is real-time stuff, and I'm going to put the safety and security of the teams at the top along with a quality product. I don't want to rush a product out of its not ready. It doesn't want to rush it if it's not ready. Yeah, fair. That's fair. And Spencer said that the safety is paramount to the decisions Microsoft is making in response to the crisis. Betson, we discussed this last time, whether or not like consoles are gonna come out and everything. So I won't ask again. What I want to say is, do you think that looking at how Sony and Microsoft are kind of I'm going to say whimsically treating the entire situation, and the reason I say whimsically is because I think it's nothing is set in stone in terms of, they're telling the public there is no plan B. There is a plan B. Don't be fooled by words. They are sitting in their corporate headquarters, in their boardrooms with all their, with everybody that's important to the company that's given them money, millions and millions of dollars, and they're asking, these people are asking questions. The suits are all asking questions. Are you going to be making a launch? And Phil Spencer's sweating because The fact is, even though Foxconn is reopened in China, they've reiterated and they've put it out there that we're not working on consoles right now. We're working on mobile phones because we're backlogged in Apple and Samsung. That's what we're working on. So the fact that he's saying, I think we'll make the dates, kind of conflicts with Foxconn's messaging as well. So I think, I'm not asking will we see him? I think we'll see limited stock, like we've already discussed. What I'm asking is, do you think that the situation is not being treated as serious as Sony and Xbox are making it?
I think the reason that because it is one of those situations, because everything is so unknown right now.
Yeah.
And who knows, shit may get sorted by October.
Yep.
So as an example. So it may be good to go, bit by bit the world's might start reestablishing.
Yep.
And so maybe they can still deliver. I think their reasoning is until we have to straight up move it, let's just keep it as it is.
Mm.
That's Vince McMahon it. Let's not tell anyone until the absolute last minute.
Move it to the Performance Center.
Yeah, subject to change. And I think that's the idea. So they're like, look, our plans are still this date until the very last moment. Until the government says you literally cannot do it. That's the Vince McMahon style right there.
Yeah.
So and literally until we cannot change it in any other way. This is what it is. And I say that as someone that wants the consoles now.
Yeah, of course.
So there is that. I'm also very realistic in knowing that it could possibly change. But if you're a business, and in terms of the business marketing of stuff, marketing is never 100% honest.
No.
Period.
Yeah.
Right? So there's always a message that they want you to get. And in here, the message they want you to get to you is, don't worry, it's still looking positive.
Mm.
Because in terms of adding additional unnecessary doom and gloom, why? As you said, behind closed doors, they're probably we have no fucking idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So what contingencies do we have in place? If we delay it, what is the cost of that? What is this? What is that? They'll be assessing all the different levels of risk around moving the date, delaying the console, everything.
Yeah.
There is a plan B. I bet there's a fucking plan C.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's definitely. Yeah.
They're going to Batman this bitch, and they're going to have 27,000 different contingencies.
Yeah. If there is no plan B, Phil Spencer should not be in the position he's in.
Correct. That is I understand the reason they said that, but if I was a stakeholder and I looked at that and I didn't know about a plan B, I'm like, that is incredible mismanagement of this multi-million / potentially billion-dollar department.
Yep.
How can you address the populace and say that you have no plan B?
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where right now, yes, exactly, they're putting shaders over something that's quite obviously not true. It's not. But I don't want to say he's misleading though. He's not misleading anything. He's just trying to put it out there that please remain positive, please remain optimistic. We're gonna try our best to get it out to you guys.
It's softening the edges.
Yes.
Yeah, because as I said, as of right now, it could all fucking change in a good way.
Yep.
And everything may suddenly start returning to normal. So it is a situation of he's not misleading, he's not lying. Because it's one of those things, once that decision is made and those changes happen, you can't come back from that.
I'm going to say this. With the PlayStation 4, I personally don't see it out this year.
The 5, you mean?
Sorry, yeah, PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
I don't see it. Yeah.
See, and this is why I think, in terms of PlayStation, that they're doing their cards close to the chest for that exact reason. They are doing the opposite of what Microsoft are doing.
Yep.
Microsoft are doubling down. They are just yep, this is what it is, and we're still aiming for that. And and PlayStation look, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
And that's because they don't want to have to then move it. So rather than being in the terms of the overall narrative of the next generation, rather than being the console that got delayed, they're it's the console that came out when it was supposed to.
Right. That it also brings up a point where you mentioned it on For the Players this week, or Max did. Max read a story about the PlayStation 5 fan. And how Sony is still obviously testing out with development kits, and how the dev kit is that design with a huge V, and it has all those vents on it and everything. V stands for ventilation. So and it has a fan, like, it has, apparently it's got like a really, it gets way too hot is what they're reporting. And like way too hot, way too fast, makes way too much noise in terms of fan noise. PS4 Pro. And also for the fact that it's not, like, development is not going as smooth as they actually thought it was. So these are all major key factors, all these four. If they release, Buddy Watson in the chat says that was a trash rumor. Shut up, buddy. That was right there. They can't release a unit with all these potential problems with it. And with that said, I don't see them say, like, I can't see them finalize it, like, coming about maybe June again, once again, that E3 area and going. I don't think we're, like, going to see a final product this year. And if they do release it with those potential rumored problems with it, they're going to be in some serious shit at the end. Shut up, buddy.
To add to that, look, I do agree with Buddy in some ways. Mostly because if this console is expected to release this year, there is no fucking way they can have that many problems to them. Right. The heating, I could totally accept. I can totally understand because they are using unprecedented level of hardware compared to previous consoles, right? Yeah. So, like, and if they want more graphic fidelity, that means more compute power. More compute power means more heat. So, you know...
Yeah, of course.
That is what in terms of that, I suspect is 100% a concern. Yeah. I don't think it's a detrimental concern. I think it's how can we dissipate this much of heat in a smaller form factor is, I think, where they'll be coming out. Because most of those parts are pretty fucking locked in at this point. Regardless of them leaving at the end of this year or even early next year, they're in their final stage, if not their final signed off stage.
But he says it shouldn't have been reported on. It was made up stuff. Apparently it was from an Xbox fanboy account or something, but
it certainly could be, and that's, you know, that goes other ways as well.
Well, it's rumors and speculation right now, but I'll be honest with you, when I first saw a glimpse of that dev kit and the amount of ventilation that fucking dev kit has, I was immediately worried about, one, the fan noise on it, two, is it really going to get that hot? So it's one of those things. It was no one reported it.
Dev kits are overspec'd compared to what the final version would be. So I always presume there's more tech in there than there needs to be.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if it's actually true or not. Look, I personally am... I'm still optimistic about PlayStation 5 that we might see it, but part of me says that we're expecting... Like, The Last of Us 2 got delayed. The Last of Us 2 got delayed. It's a game, not a unit. You know what I mean? So I think the hardware, like, in terms of leaps and bounds and everything else, Sony would be focused right now on trying to make that date, but I don't think they're going to get there this year. I think we might see a March 2021 release date. Yeah.
Yeah. So and this is I know we're getting a little bit minorly political, but it's the same discussion. It's the same discussion around the current circumstances in this country about the whole lockdown or whatever.
Yep.
And the reason that they haven't done it yet, and the same reason that the PlayStation haven't announced these specifics, is because once it happens, you cannot go back. Like, you know, in terms of a lockdown, once a lockdown kicks in, you cannot go back.
Yeah.
So if they say that we are delaying it from here, they cannot go back, because that is money, that's investment, that's marketing, that's delays in production, that's additional storage for units that are already being created. Like, if you're going to make that, you have to commit 100% to that decision.
Yeah.
And so it's not as if, like, if they say, oh, we're going to delay it until March, and next thing you know, shit gets really good and it starts picking itself back up, and they can't be like, well, we're moving it back to October.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Speaking of the COVID news affecting jobs in gaming and games retailers, I guess, this article comes by way of Press Start. Shannon over at Press Start says an internal EB Games memo claims stores will close if state/federal law requires, and thanks staff for hard work. An internal EB Games note obtained by Kotaku has thanked staff for their outstanding service over the last few weeks and outlined what could happen if the retailer is shut down due to lockdowns. We had cited this memo late last week and had it verified with several EB Games staff. The memo starts by thanking staff who have continued to work through not only incredibly challenging times, but also busier than usual times. With games becoming a hot item over the last few weeks. Quote, your achievement, and this is in the statement, quote, your achievements through these trying times have been amazing. In an environment where some other retailers have been required to close by government order, and others have thrown in the towel, you have continued to serve your customers magnificently. It is especially so when you consider this has all been done with COVID-19 at the forefront of everyone's mind and the need to maintain strict social distancing rules. Your efforts have been legendary, the memo states. In reference to stores closing, the memo states, do exactly what our state and federal governments ask us, whatever it is. It also goes on to detail what would happen if staff are stood down, although it's a little unclear. EB Games is definitely not making any promises in terms of paying staff in a shutdown. The memo reads, quote, if we have to close, I cannot promise you we can pay you for the entire period of any stand down. The variables are too great. I don't know if or when a stand down may occur. I don't know if it will be regional or national. I don't know if there will be any government assistance. And most importantly, I do not know how long it will last. Rest assured, we have a plan to hopefully soften the blow of any worst case scenario. This question goes to Buddy Watson in the chat. Have they done the same thing at work? Now I'll spin it back to you.
Cause my colleague at my job, her partner works at JB, and the information that he was giving, because he's one of the senior managers there, is that they will operate until the shopping center shuts down.
Yeah.
Like they'll push it to the last minute, and there's the EB games next to it. I imagine is the exact same.
Yeah, it's that in terms of like that would happen everywhere, I guess. And I got to applaud EB Games for actually acknowledging and commending their employees as well, because I know that it's a bit of a shit place to work. But
yeah, that's my favorite part about the statement is they talk about something. We're not that company. I'm like, you're fucking that company.
Yep. Yeah.
We're exactly that company.
You have that reputation. I'm sorry, EB Games guys, but you really do have a reputation. That's just...
This is like, my boss was an area manager for EB Games. He's like, no, they are that company.
Yeah. Because
I was the one that had to force that shit.
Yeah. One of my friends who's actually a podcast host of two podcasts, House of Manchild account, and also they do a wrestling podcast. I can't remember what it's called right now, but I'll figure it out and I'll give him a quick shout out. But he was a senior manager for EB Games as well. And when he read that statement, because he works at Samsung now, but when he read that statement, he was like, what the fuck? They are such a trash heap. But he also said that he commends them for actually doing that and actually giving a pat on the back to their employees for actually like going to work during this period, because there's a lot of them who could have easily turned around and said, no, I'm not coming to work. Or no, I quit. And you know, there would definitely be a lot of people who've done that. There've been like, I've copped calls from, different people that have told me about different things that have happened at their workplace, of people just getting up and walking out. So it's we're definitely some interesting times.
It's a really tough line in terms of the whole working thing.
Yeah.
This isn't in terms of, yes, on paper they aren't essential.
No.
And they should not be stated as such. However, in these turbulent times, these small things of normalcy can be life-saving.
Yeah. And games are.
And games are that. And in terms of, working within mental health and understanding how things like this can be irreparably fucking fucked for people. The idea that there are some things. Now, granted, this certainly should not be done at the expense of the staff working at those places, because that is our difficulty as well. Is that they will still be then exposed to the general populace and whatever. And I know that if you had returned to work like you intended, Dash, that would be a concern. We know that like Buddy is still there as well, and a couple of other members of the Dash Gamer audience are still workers. Like I'm still working. If it wasn't for the exact building that I work in, I would still be client facing right now.
Yeah.
So it is this weird gray area, but this part of it is, be very grateful that you still have work. Many people don't. You know, and it is one of those things like, that's the same boat that we have with our staff. Some of our staff are like, why the fuck, like, this is putting us at risk. I'm like, yes, but think about the people that you're helping. Think about the fact that you can still eat right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, in terms of there's some things that's more of a large message as a whole, but it's this one situation of be fucking grateful, everyone. Yeah. Be fucking grateful.
On the subject of gaming helping with mental health and stuff, I pulled up a tweet that I saw this morning from Anna Brandberg, who is a former developer over at EA, who said, granted, there's a huge difference between simply enjoying playing games and being addicted to them, but boy, is it sure nice to see a positive shift in how the general media covers video games these days, #COVID-19. Yeah. Now, in what she was saying, there's an article that was placed on USA Today a year ago from the World Health Organization, who said that, video gaming addiction is officially considered a mental disorder. And then only a couple of days ago, World Health Organization came out and said, the WHO says playing video games is healthy social pastime during the coronavirus pandemic. So it's one of those things right now where, we're obviously in an outlier where looking into how as journalists, we look at the situation kind of differently to what everybody else in terms of game.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you're part of this too, Betson. Like, as journalists, we sit... I am that. Look, we sit here and we look at it from a different perspective as everybody does, everybody else does, in terms of gaming and stuff. They buy games, they play games, that's it. They're done. We buy games, we critique them, and then we're done. But as journalists as well, it's our duty to also observe the community and what's happening in terms of, like, how the pandemic is unfolding and affecting the community as well. And we look at that and we reflect ourselves and say, shit, this is like one of those things right now where the world really has, it's fallen on top of its head. Buddy in the chat says, games are not important. Nothing great there. They will cling on to that. They say they sell monitors, webcams, keyboards, mice, headphones, and other work from home. Yeah, we'll get it. Look,
No, look, I'm going to say it right now. Buddy, you are, in terms of games retail, yeah, you're correct. But in terms of games being unessential, I think you're fucking wrong, period. The idea is my entire job is based around the importance of games for mental health.
Yeah.
My entire client base are incredibly thankful for games right now. If it wasn't for them, if it wasn't for games and the community around games, I probably wouldn't have half my clients right now. A lot of them are freaking out and having a really rough time.
Yeah.
And the solace of games and like the help of games right now is keeping them going.
Yeah.
So in terms of games, dismissing games like that, nah, mate.
Yeah. Yes. No, hold on though. Like I'll back up. Yeah, I'll back up, Buddy, on that statement because I think that's what he was trying to reiterate. It's the retail side of it. Yeah. Because if honestly, I don't think he meant that games need to be bought from a store. All right. I think what he's meaning is that he shouldn't be at work right now selling video games, and I kind of agree.
Then don't.
Yeah.
Then don't.
It's kind of
It's one of those situations. If you like, I'm going to be that guy.
Yeah.
It's a situation of if you don't feel safe at work, then don't fucking go to work.
Hold on, wait.
Look, as people like I said, I know people that work at JB and they're in the exact same position. JB are offering that. If you don't want to work, then you don't work. Period. You didn't choose to go home.
I didn't know that.
And I understand that too, because it's the same predicament that I got put in as well in terms of my workplace and the discussion around if you feel unsafe, you cannot work.
Well, I'm not too sure with the JB or not. I'm putting it out there. I haven't been at work in almost 6 months because I'm dealing with mental health issues myself. But the thing is, with what's happened recently and what I've heard from coworkers and stuff. Yeah, exactly. You don't get paid and you have to use your leave. It's stupid. It really is kind of stupid. But look, I'm still employed by JB, so I can't really.
But yes, that's our situation. I understand.
Yeah.
But part of it. But my big point is, be fucking grateful that you have a job, that you haven't been unemployed. You know what I mean? Like in terms of the worst case scenario, look, you're working in, as you said, in an industry that you believe may not be essential. And look, I do agree with you on that.
Yeah.
In terms of games retail is unessential. And yes, those other departments that store specifically offers are 100% essential in terms of helping people still do their day to day. So look, I get you and I really do. But there is some, and we're getting way off topic here, but there is that understanding of that you need to be grateful. You need to be understandable. And if it is that much of a concern, then you take your leave and then you don't get paid. That's the option.
Nah, fair enough. I'm glad I have a job, and I hope we don't close until absolutely. Well, look, Buddy's been honestly.
The messaging you are delivering is the exact opposite of how you're apparently feeling.
Yeah, but hold on, no. Yeah, it is. I'll give you an example, Betson. Last week, my leave kind of was out. I'm done with leave. I should have been returning to work. They don't want me to because of the current situation that everything's happening. I kind of thought about going back, and the reason I thought about it was I kind of feel like it's not a safe environment for me to go back to right now, obviously with the given circumstances, but I miss making money. Is one of those things, and the only way that to be socially I've been socially dormant for 6 months, Betson, and it's killing me. The fact that I can't leave, I haven't left this house in that long is killing me. And the fact now that we're in the middle of a pandemic and it just prolongs me having to be put into a lockdown kills me. So, and as Buddy says, it's conflicting, and that's what's causing anxiety and stress. And there's been a lot of that. There has been a lot of that from retailers, not just games retailers, obviously retailers everywhere as well.
It's literally every industry, everyone. Yeah. Everyone is having that conflict because the situation that we are facing right now is so unprecedented. Yeah. For us as this generation, for the generation before us. Yeah. It's a situation we don't know how to cope with this. We don't know how to deal with this. Yeah. No, I agree. Right? Yeah. So it is one of those things because if, as you said, if there is this massive lockdown, then we're all fucked. Sure. So it's stressful and it's horrible as it is right now because I work in the center of Geelong, right? So every day I park my car and I walk straight through that thing. And part of it is there's a bunch of people could walk through here and any one of them could have infected. Yeah. Because they could have come in, they could have touched the seats out the front of my building that I, walk past and I may brush my hand against. And that's totally a legitimate concern. And that's the same concern that I imagine people feel when they go to their workplace. Yeah. And especially if your workplace with traffic and people and you using JB as an example, because it's being a point right now, you cannot sanitize that entire building safely. Not every item can be sanitized. Yeah. So I totally understand. I really do. So please don't take Dash or Buddy or whoever in the chat or whoever's listening to this. Please don't take my comments as dismissing of how you're feeling, because how you're feeling is 100% valid, 100% correct. Yeah, no. But it is that situation of putting it in context as well. I know how. Yeah. That's against the industry that I work in. I understand that emotion greatly just destroys logic. Yeah. But is that situation of in a time of this horrible, there has to be some comfort in knowing that you are slightly safe. Yeah. Whether it be the safety of your house, safety of your family, of your partner, of your children. Yeah. As I said, right now, if I wasn't working, I don't know how I could keep paying this house. Yeah. I don't know how I could feed my son. Yeah. There are things that are massive. Yeah. To me. Well, so for that reason, I'm pushing through my own mental health challenge in this space because I'm trying to be reasonable, I'm trying to be positive, but it's fucking hard. Yeah.
And in that message that you just said, that's where you and Buddy agree. And what I'm saying is, where you and Buddy agree is that you both go to work right now to pay your bills. And that's where everything kind of is at the moment, is that people don't know what the fuck to do because they wake up in the morning and they're in limbo. I've been waiting. It's fucking Groundhog's Day.
It is, and the situation is you got to try to be fucking positive in this time.
All right.
Like, you've got to find that one positive part in it. And if that means I'm playing Final Fantasy right now and I feel happy about it, or I went and I watched a ton of movies on Netflix or something, whatever it is that makes you happy, and it's tough. You've just got to find that shit.
All right.
It's so fucking tough right now.
All
That's
right.
why WrestleMania was so good for me.
Yeah, we're going to move on.
We need to move on. We're really detached, but
Yeah. This one comes
I
from...
had to get a stress point.
This one comes from Push Square. Semi Barker over Push Square. It says Resident Evil 8 will apparently be on a PS5 in first person and will be announced.
See, now I'm
soon.
excited again because I'm fucking excited for Resident Evil 8.
Oh my god. Original article says Capcom is keeping itself busy as the PlayStation 5 nears release. Rumors are flying regarding an all-new installment, which is currently in development. Although the source in Reset Era poster Dusk Golem writing on his Twitter account. Okay, that doesn't... Okay. Given that the so-called insider has several proclamations flying around right now, including Sony's purported production on Silent Hill title, we'd recommend you exercise caution until some of these are proven true. In an update to this, supposed insider Dusk Golem has put his credibility on the line once more, claiming that next year's Resident Evil game is Resident Evil 8 for both PlayStation 5 and 4. According to the rumor monger, it started life as Resident Evil Revelations 3, but due to positive internal feedback, it's been revamped and as a full-blown sequel. Like the excellent Resident Evil 7 and Biohazard, it will apparently be a first-person game. Now, I want to stress something as well. Capcom...
Yes.
They are on hold too due to coronavirus. One of their employees, tested positive, and then there was
someone at Kojima as well.
but there was more of an outbreak within Capcom. Apparently, it's not just one person.
Shit.
There's a couple more. So right now, Capcom is on hold, and this might if this is true, if there is a Resident Evil 8 in development, I think that's on hold as well.
Yeah.
Regardless of it, though, this is pretty cool. Like the fact that now Resident Evil is seeing a renaissance period, with Resident Evil 7 that came in a few years ago. Then they said, "Fuck it, we're also going to bring back Resident Evil 2 and 3. We're also going to release a sequel while we develop these remasters." That's awesome. Resident Evil's a great franchise. I was so happy with Resident Evil 3 isn't as good as 2, and we both admit that.
Agreed.
But it was still an excellent game to play this year, man. I feel like it's way up there right now. What are your thoughts on us actually getting Resident Evil 8 sometime soon?
Yeah, fucking give it to me. Hell yeah.
You weren't big on Resident Evil before, though, were you?
No, and I've mentioned this about 1,000 fucking times in different podcasts.
Okay.
Silent Hill's always been my franchise. Resident Evil's my new one because it's delivering, because Silent Hill isn't delivering anymore because it doesn't fucking exist.
Yep.
So Resident Evil's been filling that void for me, and I love 7, I love 2, and 3 was pretty good. 3 was really good, but I didn't love it as much. And then if you have a look at some of the rumor mills around this, it looks to be set in Europe and this weird medieval-esque feel, and they're going to have a repeated stalking character, very similar to Tyrant and the father, the baker. I remember his name. So Jim Baker, but that's not him. That's a guy that does PR. Dad Baker. So there's a lot of little touches in there that make me really excited.
Yeah.
I just think I really enjoy this. I've been really enjoying the spooks. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's awesome to see a renaissance period in Resident Evil. I'm really excited to see the fact that we're actually going to get potential sequels coming out, in true line potential sequels from Resident Evil 7 onwards. Now, I'm really, really excited to after playing 2 and 3. Just give me more. Just give me more Resident Evil. I'm definitely happy. Now, Betson, let's jump into the final news story of the night. This one's the sad one. This one comes by way of Press Start. Shannon over at Press Start says, The Last of Us 2 has been delayed indefinitely.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And you know what? I've been saying it for weeks.
And Iron Man VR. The one thing in this story, everyone forgets that Iron Man VR is getting delayed too.
I'm sure everybody cares right now. But I've been saying it for weeks before we've started every show with you and Paj. I've been saying it, man. I really hope they don't delay The Last of Us Part 2. I really don't. And you both of you at Page have been pretty optimistic. No, it's gonna come out. It'll be fine. It'll be gold and whatever. I'm like, now I read this. Even though video games seem to be the last normal thing left at the moment, delays were always going to be inevitable. And that's exactly what's happened this morning. The other morning. With The Last of Us Part 2 being delayed indefinitely. This is the second time the game has been delayed after moving it from its original release date of February 21st to May 29th. As of now, the game has... Look, I should have played this game 5 times over by now. It's just so... as of now, the game has no new release date. Naughty Dog has said in a statement that this delay is due to the logistics beyond their control, so it's unclear how long it'll be before we see the game, but it's due to COVID-19, it will likely be a later end of this year. The statement read, as you've likely seen, The Last of Us Part 2 has been delayed. We're sure the news is just as disappointing to you as it is us. We want to reach out to all of you in the community to give you a little more information. The good news is we're nearly done with development of The Last of Us Part 2. We're in the midst of fixing our final bugs. However, even with us finishing the game, we were faced with the reality that due to the logistics beyond our control, we couldn't launch The Last of Us Part 2 to our satisfaction. We want to make sure everyone gets to play The Last of Us Part 2 around the same time, ensuring that we're doing everything possible to preserve the best experience for everyone. This means delaying the game until such time where we can solve these logistic issues. We were bummed about this decision, but ultimately understood what is best and fair to all players. We're hoping that this won't be a long delay, and we'll update you as soon as we have more information to share. Look, you and Max discussed this on For the Players, so I'm just going to reiterate one point. The reason behind it, yes, it's COVID-19. The other reason I see it is because, the other reason I see them doing this is because I honestly think the game, I discussed it with Paj last week. I think that the game has gone gold. They went gold on April 1st. They just haven't announced it. And they have, they've already produced stacks of them. They're sitting in a warehouse. And they fear that if they released it digitally, obviously they wouldn't make as much money on it as they would want if they released it physically. So they really need with the potential shutdowns of GameStop and EB Games happening here, and then other retailers, essential retailers, shutting down. They face the potential of actually making a lot less than what they put into. It's like a movie making a lot less than what they put into it. So, and all that crunch that Naughty Dog apparently had that they didn't consider. Now, all this pandemic shit happening, and basically it's put everything into limbo. With The Last of Us 2 getting delayed, it's a money thing. Buddy says in the chat, it's simply financial decision. Can't do that to your biggest... Yep, exactly. Can't do that to your biggest title. 100% with you, buddy.
Correct,
It's a financial move. And they actually... Neil Druckmann came out on a statement, and I'll pull it up in a second, on Twitter, and he said, it was out of our hands, guys. I'm so sorry, but it was Sony's decision. If it was ours, the game would have been out. So, give me your thoughts, Betson.
Well, at the time, because the statement that Neil made was after we recorded our show, but the issue that I had was more around the statement. In terms of one of those things, because statements are very intentional. And in terms of they go through X amount of people before they get released to the public. So everything that's said in them is said with an intent.
Yep.
My concern was the idea of hey, this is logistics reasons. Look, we've still got bugs to squash. However, the game's not quite finished, but it's logistics.
Yeah.
So part of me was well, you're 6 weeks out, mate. Your game should be gold now.
Yeah.
And if it was truly a logistics thing, then why weren't they look, the game's gold, but we just can't get it out right now?
But once again, it comes down to that boardroom style of things, that we know that conversation is happening behind closed doors, but what's been put in front of us right now is shaders that say, no, we're trying to deceive you a little bit here and tell you that it's a logistics issue. It's not a logistics issue, it's a financial thing, and Sony want to make money.
Yeah, and that I agree with. If it like they would never say that. They would never say that in a statement. But it is one of those things. Like the whole point around is because if they do release it digitally, right, everyone will buy it digitally, which is great.
Yep.
However, then they're stuck with a warehouse full of physical copies no one wants to buy.
Yeah.
So, like, from a true financial point, then yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. And in terms of the ups and downs or whatever's going to happen right now, who knows? Yeah. And that they don't want to run the risk of it getting out in the wild, like the situation that Final Fantasy VII is having right now.
Correct. Yeah.
Like, it's been out in the wild for like a week and a half.
Yeah. Simon in the chat says there's enough tinfoil situations with COVID in general, let alone games. Look, and Buddy did make a good point. People would riot if it was gold and they knew it. That's negative PR, 100%. But in my mind, that game's gone gold. And the reason the game's gone gold is usually we see games go gold a month and a bit out. The same happened with Death Stranding. The game went gold a while before it came out. But The Last of Us they would be manufacturing millions of copies of that thing. Because
minimum.
At least a couple of million. Because day one, that game is going to be selling like hotcakes. People be buying the shit out of that. And yeah, they'll be breaking records with that game. However, putting it out there that the game has gone gold and sitting in a warehouse getting dusty somewhere, people would get shitty. It's bad PR. People knowing that they could get their hands on it now because Sony's financial decisions are depending on fiscal years and all that stuff. They'd be basically like, oh no, it'd be best for our taxes if we sold it at this time of the year. Now it's like, well, with COVID happening and taxes and all that bullshit, we have to spin it and put it on the shelf and bring it out later in the year because our taxes, money. That's all it comes down to at the end of it. This is a financial thing.
Yeah, it's just in terms of, but I'm going from not with the financial thing, just reading between the lines. You are correct. You are correct. Period. Yeah. But from this is what we've said and this is what it is. If you look at that statement as it is, and I read that as the game's not done.
Yeah.
The game's not done.
If the game's not done by now, there's a problem. And especially with all the reports of crunch happening at Naughty Dog. That's bullshit. I'm sorry, but the game's done. It's gold. I in my mind, you can't tell me any different. That game is on discs and it's sitting in a warehouse somewhere. That is what my thought process is right now. They're telling us this. I don't believe it at all. That game is sitting.
It's weird because I find that more dishonest. So if they would be like, look, we cannot, like, due to current circumstances and being unable to ship shit from one place to another, like, look, here's a warehouse of games. We can't do it. We literally cannot send it out of this building.
I think it would be...
if I saw that, I'd be like, no, that's reasonable. It's 100% reasonable.
Yeah, but I would too. But we're people who are reasonable. There are people who are not. So that's why they don't do it. Buddy in the chat says it would make Sony look greedy and you can't have that negative spin, or it could be done in 2 weeks and working on one-day patch, so they could be both truths. Yeah. Who knows? But the fact is, I think, honestly, that game's already gone gold. They're just holding on to copies now because, like, they've manufactured copies for sure, and they're just not ready to ship them because they know that it would not sell as much as they would want it to right now. Look, GameStop over in America, the only way you can get a game is to park right in front of the shop over there, and they bring it out to you. Mm-hmm. A lot of stores are doing that here right now, but for big items, obviously. Obviously, for America's infection rate is a lot higher than us.
Shit's way scarier over there.
Yeah. It's almost at 500,000 over there. But it's like different here, but it would be accessible to buy it here if we wanted to. I could go tomorrow and buy it, and it wouldn't be as much of a risk of contracting COVID-19. However, it's still there. That risk is still there. I think,
but once again, it's the other point of, like, quote, non-essential shit. Like, it's one of those things, like, if they were like, look, here, we need to take up X amount of space to ship this game from Europe to Australia, and, like, that's an unnecessary shit.
Where do you send it to? Closed warehouse? And Do you mean like? Well, yeah, I'm with you, buddy. What they would do is they manufacture that, and yeah, they would store that because storage facilities still exist. They'd be setting it into like a Sony paid storage facility because Sony are the one that made the call. They'd be like, no problem, manufacture them. We put them in storage. They stay there for however long. Nobody knows where this place is. Because I'll tell you something, if it got broken into, then a lot of people will be having a lot of copies of The Last of Us 2 on their hands.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling like right now it's where it is right now is yes, they've started manufacturing the game. They saw how things are going right now in terms of sales. They see that sales are going down because of gaming sales in America at least is going down because nobody can get out of their fucking house over there. So they kind of said, no, we can't release it here right now. So if we can't release it here, it can't be released elsewhere, and that's it. So because they would have had to assess the situation as well of Final Fantasy VII releasing here early because they were given the okay by publishers to do so. Technically not breaking street date, they were actually giving retailers the go for it. Please go ahead because you guys might be closed next week and we might not be able to sell it. No, technically they would be closed this week because it's Good Friday this week and they couldn't sell it. But regardless, like closures could have happened this week and there's that potential. And other games that also came out following it, it's just seriously, but he says, but the logistics claim are true. Places closed, retail supply chains closed. They have less places to send to. Yeah, and you also brought up a good one as well, buddy, in the chat, which was people won't buy the game digitally because of a premium that's always added to these digital games online. You buy a digital game online in Australia, it's $100 a game. You buy it in a store, it could be anywhere from 59 to 79.
Here in Australia. In the US, it's 60-60. Like
69
in store, they don't have that day one price cut that we do here.
Yeah,
they are a unanimous 60.
Yeah.
So in the US, that would be more of a viable option. Here, it is not.
Betson, let's talk a little bit about games that we've been playing before we wrap up the night. So we'll jump right into the one that we've been both playing, which is Final. You were just playing just before we jumped onto the podcast.
I was.
Talk to me a little bit about how you're falling in love now from Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy can suck a dick. Tell me what you think about Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Okay. So I'm about 3 hours and 40 minutes according to my counter.
Okay.
However, the counter runs whenever the game's paused, so that's also weird. So I'm still very early days.
Yep.
I know it's a big beast.
Yeah.
There are moments when the game is visually remarkable.
Yep.
There are moments where the game is, I cannot believe how good it looks.
Yeah.
And then there are moments where I'm like, that sign hasn't rendered. What the fuck is that person's face? So if you're a main character or a cutscene, it looks tremendous. But then random dude in front of gate who you have to interact with, I'm like, ooh, your lip sync's bad. Ooh, your face is whole kinds of messed up.
Yep.
All right. So in terms of a visual thing, that's fine. Gameplay, love it. Really enjoying the gameplay. I like because I like what's the term for this? It's like action turn based, but
it's not turn based. It is kind of they just call it quasi RPG these days. It's more they're more going for an approach of an open RPG element now, where it's more open world rather than just turn based RPG. You can play classic, but people recommend that you don't. That you play the way the game is intended now. So please go on.
Yeah, no, I'm enjoying how it plays. I'm enjoying combats. I am really enjoying sort of like, getting some stuff lined up, jump. So what's the attack points? Your AP or whatever.
Yeah.
So I enjoy getting the AP up, and then I initiate a skill or an ability, shift over to the other person, get that in, and I'm able to clear out dudes pretty hard. So I'm on normal right now, so I'm not fighting too big gnarly creatures or monsters or enemies in any way.
Yeah.
So it's pretty manageable, but I'm enjoying it in terms of playing it. There is no subtlety in the story.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah.
Barrett just fucking yells it at you. which is cool and all right. I really enjoyed that the Wedge, the gentleman that does the voice of Wedge, played Badger in Breaking Bad.
Correct.
So that makes me happy every time I hear him talk.
Yeah.
How the characters talk to each other is very anime-y.
It's Final Fantasy.
Hang on.
Yeah.
So and that's something that just doesn't appeal to me. I understand it's in here. I understand in this world it's totally cool. But for me personally, it's my fault for playing a fucking JRPG, I guess. But in terms of how they communicate, it's kind of like Cloud's forever brooding and it's kind of dumb.
And you bought Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah, but I like Persona.
All right, go on.
Some of the characters I really enjoy Persona. But so I've never played Final Fantasy 7 before, so this is all new.
No, that's all right.
So the brooding of Cloud, I'm like, it's a bit much, mate. Can't fuck down. And then the sort of the Tifa is an interesting character, mostly because I'm not quite sure where she fits in the bigger picture yet, apart from being a friend of Cloud's. I don't really like her constantly submissive behavior. Yeah. Which is also very common in Japanese entertainment, which I also have an issue with personally. Yeah. So I'm not really feeling that, but I'm gonna keep playing it. Yeah. Because I know Max will want to talk about it. So
what do you think of the gameplay?
Though? Gameplay's tight. I like it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I dig it. Yeah, dig it out.
Look, as somebody who's played the original, you're comparing apples and oranges now. Like. People who say, I played the original, so this one should be great. Yeah, the original is a masterpiece. This is such a look, I'm going to put it out there right now. This is already my game of the year so far. I have enjoyed everything that I played about it. And I know that Stevie Jar's listening, so we can't go too spoilery because he requested us not to. Not that we would, regardless anyway, because the game is actually still not out anywhere else.
It comes out Friday.
It comes out Friday everywhere else. So look, the game is excellent. The story, the narrative is so well done. I love some of the differences. There are some key differences within the narrative that they've changed that actually help in terms of its progression. That kind of there was a lot of bottlenecking in the original narrative, where that's not so evident right here. Like they've polished that. It feels the hack and slash elements of the title are different to what you would experience in a normal hack and slasher, obviously, with its with a lot of JRPG elements integrated with it. The free roaming style of how you attack with Cloud in the game makes it just feel so smooth. While turn-based RPGs traditionally have this aspect of 1, 1, 1, 1. You can actually freeform, and it's just displayed on screen. You can freeform, switch out your characters while in battle, which is awesome. I love that stuff. So you can play not just as Cloud, you can play with like all the heroes in the game as well, which is really cool. But look, if I were to put Final Fantasy VII anywhere this year, it's definitely on the top of the list of must plays on PlayStation right now. It's tough because I also have a soft spot for the original, where some key differences, obviously, that aren't in the remake, and I can't say because there's a lot of spoilers to it, but there are a lot of things that they didn't bring over from the original to the remake that people are going to question as to why, because they were such integral parts of the original narrative as well. But look, I can see why they didn't, but yeah, you'll definitely, for people out there who are going to get their hands on the game, you'll definitely notice what I'm talking about when you finish the story. Gameplay's tight, graphics are fucking excellent on this, and yes, I did have that texture pop in as well. That texture pop in is hard sometimes. It was almost Borderlands 3-esque in some ways.
I've had people just appear out of nowhere.
Yeah. So there is definitely
slums area. Yeah,
definitely needs some patchwork. But
then again, that could also be happening because we're playing it so super early. Correct. Of this situation.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, like a day one patch would probably be expected.
Yeah.
You got to remember that. So, are we allowed? Am I allowed to say this? I better be careful. I'm treading water here because I've also been in contact by the publisher Bandai Namco, and we're kind of I'm doing this in cahoots with
Square
them,
Enix, man.
Square Enix. No, well, Bandai Namco.
But yeah, it's under Bandai. They work with Bandai here in Australia.
Yeah. I'm aligning with their embargo notes and stuff.
Yeah, no, we're doing the same as well.
Yeah.
At Pop C, so
even
though
we purchased it, we both like the copies that weren't supplied this time by Bandai Namco, and that's fine. But I felt like it was my duty as a journalist to kind of abide by the publisher's restrictions. Just because
I still want to fuck my friends over. That was on my plan.
That too, because I like the guys over at Bandai. When we cover and review nearly all their titles, so it was one of those things where this time we weren't so lucky, and that's okay because I was gonna get my hands on it regardless, and the fact that we got it early was just more of a plus for me to go out and buy it. And but look, honestly, best game of the year so far. Love it. Hands down. I think you guys know I'm probably going to score it this week. So look out for the full review when that comes out.
So in the chat, Max, it's my Max.
Yeah.
He goes, didn't embargo drop on the 6th? That is correct. The review embargo did drop. However, the embargo does stipulate things you can and cannot talk about.
There is still some non-negotiables. We can't.
Correct.
There's even some footage I cannot show. I actually pulled up something and I was like, nope, can't show that. Correct. So there are still some things we can't actually show. Betson, there was one more game that I played thanks to the kind folks over at Xbox Australia who did provide the review code for this, which was Bleeding Edge. They were kind enough to actually give me a review code to sit down and check out. Basically, they're what I would probably compare it as an Overwatch competitor or an Apex.
It's like the hero shootery thing.
Yeah,
from
kind of like
Theory,
Apex. Yeah? Apex, more an Apex competitor, if anything. And it's from Ninja Theory as well. Yeah. Here's my quick thoughts because I'm gonna get a review out this week, but I feel like I could get through this quickly. It's not. It's a good game. It's a good game to sit down and play. I don't know whether or not, though, it will last that long. I don't think its appeal is there. I don't think it's making as much noise. Right now, it's the end of a generation's Battleborn is how I'm feeling about it right now. That's a bad statement. I know it's a bad statement to compare it to it. But the fact that I feel like there wasn't enough noise made about the game. There wasn't enough...
I think the situation, once again, like this is coming from someone that hasn't played it or from an outside perspective, is that knowing that it comes from, like, this is the game that follows up Hellblade.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
So that's jarring. And it's a hero shooter in a industry dominated by hero shooters that are doing way better.
Yeah.
The only advantage this will have is that it's on Games Pass.
Yep.
And that really, like, that low barrier to entry, I think, may be what will keep it going.
Yeah.
But even then, like, unless it delivers the same quality of Overwatch, and people will have that muscle memory about playing those particular hero shooters that they won't split from what they know.
I compare it more to an Apex more than an Overwatch. Basically because of the size of each arena and also the way it's been delivered. They're delivered more like battlers than heroes who are going around shooting. They're a team of entertainers, essentially. And you get an assortment of different classes and variations and weapons and movesets and everything else. It's not just shooting, it's also a whole bunch of other stuff too, so some wacky elements thrown in there as well. But I just feel its marketing has been a bit poor because, like, I didn't even know it was out until somebody mentioned it to me. They're like, hey, did you know Bleeding Edge is out? I'm like, no, I did not. Holy shit. And that's when I contacted Xbox. So I was like, hey, I didn't even know that Bleeding Edge was out. You guys didn't even put out a press statement. So
yeah, I saw it on Games Pass at work. I was like, oh.
It's out. It's out. And I didn't even know. There was no press statement, nothing from them. And I was like, guys, are you going to promote this game or nah? So it's one of those things where, I don't know whether they were confident in actually promoting it. But the way I feel about its gameplay and everything, it's good. It's not a game that I'd probably return to. It's solid for Xbox devotees who want to sit down and play something and get their friends involved into something that's obscure and different.
Because this is the interesting thing. this is a first party.
Yeah.
So if I sound like I'm being
No. It's a first party. They are now first party.
A PlayStation butthole, but it's another, by the sounds of it, potentially subpar Xbox exclusive.
Title. Yeah. And I hate saying that, but yeah, kind of is.
I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that guy either. Because
no. But look, you're 100% hit the mark. It's there. You know what I mean? It's just there. And here, if you got Games Pass Ultimate, which I do, enjoy. Okay, but I've also got Apex. That's kind of doing their thing over here right now. They're in their 4th season, and
well, because that's the point. Like, if you mention if it's not like Overwatch and it's more like Apex, then that's a problem because Apex has even less barrier to entry.
Yep.
Sounds like it's in a really tough spot.
It really is. I feel like there could definitely be some improvements made on it. Look, it's smooth. It runs well. Looks good.
How are these entertainers? How are they? Do they feel unique and different?
No.
When you compare them to other... No? Okay.
No. Like, if you say... they try. They really do try to make them feel like there's an original concept being drawn here. It just came off way too Battleborn-ish. It almost was like a Battleborn cross Apex kind of deal. The characters are quirky, but there's not enough in them for me to go, oh yeah, Bleeding Edge is going to be the next Overwatch.
Yeah.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Not even the next Apex. So, yeah, that's something to be said. Guys, if you didn't know, this has been the Dash Gamer Podcast, our bi-weekly gaming podcast where we take you through the latest in the world of video gaming. Don't forget to follow Mr. Ryan Betson on Twitter at HaggardMC and at Pop Culture. So you can follow myself on Twitter at Dash Gamer and at Dash Gamers for the website. Don't forget to follow the show over on SoundCloud if we actually end up back there. iTunes and Spotify for those cheeky 5-star ratings. And you can watch the VOD on demand over on dashgamer.com. The old new looking dashgamer.com. Betson, once again, thank you for doing the show with me this week.
No worries.
We miss you, Paj. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. Guys, we will see you in a couple of weeks for the Dash Game Podcast. I'll see you next week for Operation PlayStation with Paul. But until then, stay safe, take care of yourself, stay at home, and wash your hands.
dashgamer.com